Hello, my name is Rashida Hassan, and it is Family Folktales. This is a broadcast that I do to share some of the very interesting stories that was told as a young child growing up. Stories that helped me, that still helps me now, because every time I'm in a particular situation, I remember some of the stories. And my preference would have been to tell the story in Yoruba language, because then I'm sure you'll be able to get the essence of the story. But also, I want to tell the story in a way that a lot more people can gain from it. And because I'm aware that most of the stories that I was told as a young person growing up and coming across other culture, coming across other people, I have realized that a lot of those stories have versions that are told in different culture, different languages, and the most important thing are the lessons that are embedded in those stories. And a lot of times the African folk tales, especially the stories of the animal kingdom and their relationship with the human kingdom, are stories that are used to help us as young people to learn the process of living. There are stories that helps us to socialize better, that helps us to be able to appreciate how to deal with, how to react and how to relate with different situations and circumstances that we find ourselves. And today the story I'll be telling, it's around an adage, because most of the stories that are told in Africa, most of the African folk tales that I was told growing up are either centered around songs that are very rhythmic and that you will find very easy to remember, or they are around adage or proverbs that have become social norms. So the one I'm going to be telling you tonight is going to be around a Yoruba adage which says Eebu alonitaun abotanoi. Now, what does that mean in English? Eebu alonitaun abotanoi means that the first blame is for the tortoise, and the return blame, or the later blame, is for his in-law. Now that is translating it in a literal term, translating it literally. Ahun in Yoruba language is also known as ijapa. So ahun is also ijapa, which is in English tortoise. So the tortoise is either referred to as ahun, or is referred to as ijapa. So this adage says that the first blame is for ahun, because in this particular story, ijapa is referred to as ahun. So Eebu alonitaun abotanoi, that is the first blame is for the tortoise, and the last blame, or the return blame, is for his in-law. So what led to that adage, and how does it translate to the way we should imbibe this in our everyday life? We'll get to know as I tell the story. So before I start telling the story, I want to advise you to call everyone. If you're watching this on a regular day, just sit down, relax, and listen to the story. And if you've got a version that has been told to you before, I will be very, very happy to hear from you. And if you want to tell your own version of the story, or you want to tell a story that might be slightly different in your culture or your language or anything, but that is close to the kind of lessons that you can find in the story I'm going to tell today, I'll be very happy to hear from you. So what again, what did I say the story is around? Is around a Yoruba adage that says Eebu aloni taun abonita noe. So what is the story about? A long time ago, in the animal kingdom, where they have very very narrow borders with the human kingdom, there was Eebu. Now, who is Eebu? Eebu in Yoruba is a Yoruba word for the snail. So within the animal kingdom, which is not very far from the human kingdom, there was the Eebu and the Ijapa. Now, Ijapa was married to the daughter of Eebu. Now, that is, the tortoise was married to the daughter of the snail. Now, the snail was having very serious problem at this point that this story came up. And what was that problem? The Eebu was known to have very big farmland. His farm is so big, and he has so much harvest. He was known to be a very rich farmer, and who has a lot of farm produce. But there is a problem at this point in time that this story happened. What was the problem? The problem was that somebody was coming every day at night into the snail's farm, that is Eebu, to collect yam and other food from the farm. He would eat and take away a lot. And Eebu was running at a loss. He was wondering, who is this person that is always coming every time to my farm to steal, to take away the produce? Who is this person? And then and every time he's lamenting. The tortoise, Ijapa, being his in-law, would be there a lot of time with him. And they would both be thinking, and Ijapa would be showing this kind of anger, saying that whoever is this person that is coming to steal from my in-law, I'm going to deal with that person. In fact, let me just wait until let that person just wait and let me catch them. Why would you be stealing from somebody that is working so hard? Do you know having all this farm is not an easy thing? So why should somebody be coming to steal? And you know the way the tortoise talk, it talks through its nose. So it's always going, who is this person that is always coming to steal from this farm? And the snail, he's angry, and he will be, just don't get angry, my in-law, telling the Ijapa, because the anger that Ijapa has. And then they decided. He decided, because after Ijapa left, he decided that he must do something about this thief that is always coming into his farm to steal from him. And so the last time the tortoise came to his house and they were talking about how the thief had still continued to steal from him, he wasn't happy. But he was at least happy that the tortoise was showing so much concern. But after the tortoise left, it just occurred to him, he decided, yes, I must catch this thief. I must catch him. He must not put me in debt continuously like this. And so he decided that he's going to wait, that he's very sure that person will not come out to steal when it is daylight, when people will be walking around. He must be coming at night when everybody is sleeping. So tonight, I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to catch this thief. So the snail waited until very late at night, almost past the midnight. And so, you know, the snail, it can move without any noise because it crawls on the floor. There's no feet to make any noise. There's nothing. So he stylishly went in his farm and he set a trap. He already put the trap somewhere not too far from him, and he started waiting to see who has been coming to steal in his farm. And lo and behold, he wasn't there up to 5 minutes before he just saw, he just heard the movement and could see the very slow. The tortoise also is an animal that will not make so much noise when it's moving. And then he just looked, and then what did he find? It was actually the tortoise that was coming to steal from the farm. And he was the same person that is showing so much anger and sympathy with the snail. The snail was very angry. He just quickly took the trap and put it on the tortoise, and then just put the tortoise in this big basket where the tortoise cannot move. He just trapped him in the basket. And he was like, oh, so you are the one that's been stealing from me, and you will come to me and be showing so much fake sympathy. The tortoise was very ashamed. He was so ashamed of himself, he couldn't say anything. He just kept quiet there, because he knew that he has been caught. And the snail was like, what can I do to punish him? Because he was so angry. He said, you know what? I know what I will do. I will shame you. When I shame you, then you will never do this again. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I leave you in this trap and put you where everybody, remember what I told you, that there was a very narrow path between the human and animal kingdom. So when people, maybe human and animal, whenever they are going to the markets, the paths along the snail's farm, that is the path they take to go to the markets. So the snail decided that, yes, my punishment to you is that I'm going to shame you. I'm going to allow everybody to see you as the thief. So he moved the tortoise in the trap and put him along the walk path that leads to the markets, so that when everybody wakes up in the morning and they are going about their regular daily business and trade in the markets, they will walk past and they will see the tortoise inside the trap. And of course, once they see him the way he is placed, they know that he is the thief that has been coming to the snail's farm to steal all his farm produce. So he did that. So he left him in that trap from that midnight up to the early hours of the day, the morning, when people started on their way to the market. And when the first set of people that came in the morning, they saw the tortoise in the trap, immediately they knew, yeah, this must be the thief that have been coming to the snail's farm to steal his farm produce. And they were abusing him, they were insulting him, they called him thief, they sang there is a lot of songs that they used to sing then for people who steal, like Ajubole, Ole, Ajubole, Ole, singing all kinds of Ole is thief. So they'd come and see the thief, come and see the thief, all kinds of songs just to insult this thief who was stealing from his in-law so shamelessly, and also being the one that will pretend as if he's is so concerned about the crime that was still being done against his in-law. So everybody insulted the tortoise as they were going in the market. And everybody that was going to the market to trade in the morning saw him, abused him, and the tortoise was just there, feeling dejected, feeling ashamed of himself, feeling almost like dying. and he did not utter a word because he knew he has done something very, very wrong and very, very shameful, and he was feeling very, very ashamed of himself. And then after most of the set of people have gone to the market, and it was almost in the afternoon, the tortoise started begging the snail. Started begging the snail, telling the snail, please, please let me go. I've been insulted enough. See how everybody, I know I have done something extremely wrong. Let me go, leave me. Don't let me go through this shame again. And the snail, instead of, relaxing and being satisfied with the amount of shaming that the tortoise has gone through, became even more angry. And it was saying that, no, I'm not going to let you go. In fact, I will let people that have insulted you on their way going to the market come back and meet you there, and they will insult you more. I so much enjoyed the way they are insulting you, because what you have done is wrong. You are such a pretender. You are this, you are that. And the tortoise was begging. He kept begging. He kept begging. He kept saying, please, you know I am your in-law. Even the things I've been stealing from you, I've not been eating them. I've not been eating anything alone. I've been sharing them with your daughter. I've not done any. I know what I've done is wrong. I should have asked you. And if I've asked you, but the only reason I didn't even ask you is because you might not give me, because sometimes you are a bit, sometimes you don't want to share what you've got. That is why I decided to, begging, pleading, appealing to sentiments, appealing to everything, so that at least the snail can be, can calm down and forgive him. But instead of that, no, the snail was just getting angrier and angrier, and he kept saying, more people, I want more people to disgrace you. Then the thought of everybody that is in the village has come through this part, and they've all abused me. So let them come back at me. And the snail refused. He refused, and he left the tortoise there until after begging and begging, the tortoise became tired. He became hungry, and he couldn't beg again, and he was in that trap like that, not feeling very well, and he became tired and was just there, dejected, tired, hungry, and feeling absolutely insulted, until the first people, all those people that went to the market in the morning, started coming back very late at night, in the evening, very late in the evening, coming back from the market after a long day of work. And then when they get there, they started seeing the tortoise. They came, and then they saw that the tortoise was still in the trap. And they were like, oh, are you still here, tortoise? And the tortoise could not say anything. And the snail was waiting for them to abuse the tortoise again. And we was like, yes, he's still there. After all, he's a thief. And the people were like, this is too much. What has he done that you left him here since morning? He has not eaten, he is insulted, he is everything, and you still left. This is too much. Why can't you let him go? Then the snail said, because he was expecting them to abuse the tortoise. But now everybody now turned on the snail. Say, but why are you being so wicked? Why can't you be a little bit more compassionate? And even though, what are you even talking about? Everything he has stolen from you, he has not even eaten them alone. He must have shared them with your daughter. And then everybody started abusing the snail, that he has overdid the punishment. He has overemphasized and overdone his anger, and that now, although he started off being the one that was right, at this point he has become the one that is wrong, because he refused to be compassionate, because he refused to calm down at the right time, because he was so much enjoying the insults of the tortoise that he forgot to be compassionate. He forgot that whatever he has stolen, the person he is insulting is actually his own son-in-law. Somebody who was not just stealing from him, but was also sharing whatever was being stolen with his own daughter. Now, that does not make people, as were saying, it was later, no, it's not right what he has done, but you've punished him enough, you've insulted him, everybody have said everything to him, and he didn't even say anything. And yet you kept him here without food, without drink. Look at him, he's even looking, people started getting, look at him, he's looking tired. What if he dies? So you prefer to kill him than to let your daughter have a husband. And people started rationalizing. They started seeing less of the wrong that the tortoise has done. And that gave the tortoise the power. The tortoise said, you see, look at me. That is what I've been suffering. That is even the reason. He started even justifying why he stole. That's why I had to steal from him. Because he's never compassionate. He never gives even when you ask him. That's why I have to steal. And that was how everybody started, you better release him and stop punishing him unnecessarily. After all, whatever he's been stealing, he did it because of you. If you had been if you had shown him some kind of love or better compassion, he would have come to you. If he was sure you would give him, he would have come to you. He wouldn't have stolen from you. And then people start rationalizing why the tortoise had to do what he did. And then the snail became ashamed of himself. And the tortoise, now had the opportunity, despite being the one that stole, to talk about the fact, justifying all the reasons why he had to steal, and showing that although he did something wrong, but the tortoise is now even doing something worse, and that was what led him to steal in the first place. And before what was happening, the snail had no option than to release the tortoise, and then even release him to the sympathy of all. Everybody started begging, started feeling pity for the tortoise. Started saying, oh, sorry, we can understand your plight. I mean, how can somebody leave somebody without food since morning till night, not give him food, trap him in one place, and even get him insulted, and that person is your own in-law. And that was how, despite stealing, despite being trapped by the snail, despite taking something wrongfully from the snail was the one that was blamed last. And that is how the tortoise was allowed to go back. The snail had to shamefully, with his face downcast, release the tortoise from the trap, and the tortoise, in his frail form, because he was hungry, he was tired, but a little bit more energized because now he has the support of the people, found his way back to his house. And that is how that adage came, that the first blame is for the tortoise, but the last blame is for his in-law. So what is the lessons that we can learn? What are the lessons, that we can learn from this adage from this story turned adage, which the Yoruba people call ìtàn dòwe? That is, the story becomes an adage. So it was the story of the tortoise and the snail, the story of Ìjàpá and Ìgbín. That is the story that turned into the adage in Yoruba language that Eebu aloni taun aboni tanoi. That is, the first blame or insult is on the tortoise, which is ahun, and the last blame or the return blame or the return insult is on his in-law, who is Ìgbín. So which one are you in whatever circumstances you find yourself? Are you the tortoise or are you the snail? Which which lesson do you want to learn from this story? Is it about the evil of stealing, or the evil of pretense, or the evil of being too arrogant and too adamant? These are the things that I will leave you to go and think about. And every time you find yourself in a situation, remember that adage. Eebu alonitaun abontanwe. That is, the first blame or the first insult is for the tortoise, and the last or the return insult is for his in-law. Until I see you again next time on Family Folk Tales, please think about this. Call your children. Remember to subscribe to this channel, because there will be more of these stories coming your way. And you see, this is just one that does not have a song, but the next one I'll be telling you don't know might be one with a very, very interesting. So for those of you who are from the Yoruba culture, who has been told any of these stories before, I'm sure you will, when you listen and you listen to both the adage or the song, it will remind you how it was growing up and how all those lessons influence our life today. So remember, Eebu alonitaun abontanwe. Until the next time, see you.